are now joined by William Byron, driver of the number 24 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. If you have a question for William, please raise your hand and we will get a wireless microphone to you. Start, John. I think microphones are coming. Go right up front here. Second row.
John Newby, NBC Sports. Have you and Rudy had conversations about whether you're going to try to flip the stages or stay out and try to get points, especially with how chaotic the final stage was last year?
For sure. I think the strategy has been a big topic this week. Switching back to the stage breaks, I think that's going to bring in a new element, and we've got to see what this tire wear's like with this tire at this racetrack. So definitely some questions on that, but I would assume, or I know that our goal is just to, obviously win the race, and then if we can get a stage win or two would be nice. But you're kind of really looking at a 40-point day as max here.
Okay, let's go next to Matt Weaver, and then to Claire, and then to Lee.
Matt Weaver, Sports Not. You've had success with Atlanta, with New Atlanta. So with New Atlanta being added to the playoffs next year, do you kind of embrace the kind of unpredictability of that new first round, or is that something that you feel a little tenuous about?
Yeah, definitely nervous about it. I mean, I've won 2 races there, and I've crashed out of the other 2. So it's very hit or miss, and hopefully, next year we can have 2 good races. Obviously, there'll be more emphasis going into those races next year. This year when you went to Atlanta, great chance to get some points, but not really planning, outside of that. So it's definitely throws a wrench in the playoff format, and I think that having 2 road courses as well, it's going to really put an emphasis on kind of the special teams races, of our season in the past. Road courses have typically been kind of an afterthought, outside of this track, the Roval. So I think it's going to put an emphasis on those, and obviously an emphasis on being good at Atlanta, which we already are, but we need to limit those DNFs.
And then one kind of off-the-wall question. Next week is the Winchester 400, and for people who have never been in that race like you have or seen it, what would you tell people about why that race is so challenging and so tough?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a Bristol with a lot more character and a lot more bumps and nicks in the wall, and you run up against the fence, by the end of the race when the track rubbers in, and the wall isn't very even, so it can really catch you and catch you by surprise, and you can get into it and ruin your race. So it's one of those races. And with mechanical things being an issue with those cars, you really are testing the mechanical side of that car, the chassis, how much it flexes, if it can withstand the whole race. So it's a lot of man and machine, and I feel like we've lost that in the Cup Series. So it's cool to have a racetrack that really tests the cars.
Go next to Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. William, can you talk about qualifying and how important qualifying is, and as a driver, how you look at qualifying here in the playoffs?
I mean, for us, it's important, but it's not the end-all for us, just because of our position and being locked in. But it is important. We want to get the pole for pride, really, and try to set ourselves up for a good first stage. And but if we can be in the top 10, it's a great effort for us. And then if we can even be in the bottom teens, which I feel like we're capable of with our speed on road courses, that would be a nice goal as well. So really just kind of wait and see how the racetrack is when we get out there. And I think Group A is a slight disadvantage, but it should be okay.
To your point, when there's no pressure on the line for qualifying, really, sometimes you can qualify better because for some reason the stress is relieved just a little bit or something. And then how tough is qualifying here? Like, what makes it hard?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's definitely going to be less stress. But once we get to the racetrack, we're trying to win the race. So it'll be stress because of that. But qualifying here is tough because you can lock up tires, miss corners. There's a lot of shifting. So it's tough to get it all right. I feel like you can hit 9 out of 90% of the track right and miss 10%, and that can be worth 2-3 tenths. So last year I looked at my qualified second here, and I just missed a little bit in 7, 8, 9 in the back chicane, and that was worth 2.5 tenths. So had a great lap going up until that point. So it's definitely a tough place.
Thanks, good luck.
We'll go next to Lee Spencer.
First of all, it's a kind of a two-part question. Having won at Texas, how much confidence does that give you going to Las Vegas, which could be the pivotal race in the next round?
Yeah, it's definitely the pivotal race because, as we've seen, I mean, if you can win that race in advance, you give yourself a good chance to prepare for Phoenix. So with winning Texas, we've given ourselves a couple weeks to prepare for Vegas. I feel like all that stuff has checked out pretty good. I think our setup is strong there, and we've made some good decisions, and we've had time to really decide and go to the simulator and figure out what we want to race there. So we'll get a chance to kind of make sure we're on the right track when we run this week and kind of run through our teammate setups. But so far, so good there. And, yeah, the history there has been good for us winning the race earlier this year. And, yeah, it'd be great to win there just because, you won't have to stress near as much.
That being said, Paul Wolf said that was the race because, as you said, it gives you plenty of time to prepare for Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Do you see somebody who had, an inconsistent, has someone in the field, along with, because you're locked in Blaney, Denny Omos, but is there somebody who's like a Logano just kind of waiting in the weeds that could, just pull out that win and advance it? We might not be thinking of somebody that's off our radar right now.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really worried too much about the other people in the playoffs. I think for us, it's just trying to focus on what we do best, and I'm not trying to rank guys or try to figure out who's got what, but we'll certainly see when everyone unloads off the truck at Vegas what they have, and you kind of adjust from there. Typically you can see with lap averages, and then it's all about pit crew execution, driver execution, and so unloading fast off the truck with a good balance is one of the three, and then I think you really test the race team to figure out the other two, how the driver contributes and how the pit crew contributes. So I don't know, last year was very unpredictable. I feel like this year it's a little more set in stone who's fast, but I would say any of the 8 that make it are probably well qualified to win there.
Go next to Jordan Bianchi.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic, kind of piggybacking off of Lee's question, when you look at that next round, not only Vegas, but Homestead, Martinsville, 3 tracks you've had success on, this team has been pretty consistently fast on. How are you feeling entering this round?
I would say good. I would say the most good about the beginning of the round because we obviously had a dominant race there, scored max points in the spring, and, just we're a top 2 car, us in the 5. And then I think as the round trickles down, I think the end of the round I'm a little bit more apprehensive about because of how we ran in the spring at Martinsville. We had an issue there with the clutch, but we were not super competitive there. We were great in practice, but not in the race. So I feel confident in all the tracks, but I would say less confident as the round goes. So hopefully over the course of the next 2-3 weeks, I can kind of gain some confidence and gain some certainty in what we have there. But I would say Vegas and Homestead are definitely really good tracks for us.
When you look at how you guys have ran and kind of assuming that you're going to continue to run well and looking at the fact that you've got all these kind of bonus points and you're going to have a little bit more of a safety net than some other guys, are you feeling like, I don't want to say it's easy, but is your path to Phoenix and the Championship 4 relatively straightforward in your mind?
It's definitely us against ourselves. I feel like it's us executing races. It's us putting together good performances, top 5 performances that we know we're capable of. But yeah, that being said, the points are really close. So yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't really looked a lot past Vegas. So I think honestly, I've thought a lot about this weekend right now, and then Vegas has really been a focus for us, and then we've got a little bit of Homestead trickling in as we get prepared for that. But it's really hard with this deal to really not just think week to week.
All right, we have time for one final question. We're going to go to Bruce.
anytime you get to a cutoff race, there's going to be some aggressive drivers that need to race their way in or point their way in. And there's some, you got Chastain, you got Keselowski, you got Bubba. So at any point in the race, are you concerned that their aggression level may be up and that it could take out somebody, that's not even involved in the situation?
No, I mean I just match the aggression, so I don't really care. I'm just going out there to race and try to win, and if they try to move me, they'll probably get it back.
And also, looking ahead to next year, there will be 2 road courses in the playoffs. So with Watkins Glen being added, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's a good representation of the 10 races to have 2 road course events?
I think selfishly for us, those road courses have been good for us. So kind of excited to see Watkins Glen in there after this year, and I think that'll translate into next year. But yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely different. It's just I feel like road courses have been important for us for a while, and they're just gaining more and more importance as we get them later in the season. So there was talk about this going back to the oval, and having another roval, I think, will just put more importance on your road course program.
All right, thank you, William,
Cool.
and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.